Gentlemen, boys and girls, NBs of all ages, welcome to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Corporate Week 3 matchup between Googlers2 and Google. We'll change this name later. My name is Finnick, joined on the desk today, as always, by the ever lovely, effervescent Thousand Eyes. How are you doing as we get ready to go with this week's match?
I'm doing all right. I my feet hurt because I had to walk like 4 miles back to my house earlier today, which that sucked. But I mean, other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Understandable, understandable. You know what else is understandable? 2 team kills in a row.
Yeah.
This week we got Google v Google with Googlers2, who actually got third place in CEA last season, coming over on the red side for game number 1 with Google. We'll change our name later, a relatively new team to CEA, formed as a pickup team actually this year. Um, on the blue side, they're a little bit lower ranked here, so still not quite to the point where we're even out in the Swiss, so there might be some disparities. We'll see what happens, though. I think this should still be a fun match to watch regardless, as we take a look. There's actually been a slight swap in some of these team orders from what we expected, though, going into the first game of this best of 3.
Yeah, we were told that Fried Banana was going to be top laner, Magellan was going to be in the bot lane, and Zedia was going to be support, and they've gone everywhere. Magellan's going to be in the top lane. We've got Fried Banana on 80 carry. So everybody's just kind of like mix and matching to get into different positions here, and we'll see how well that works out in the long run.
Yeah, and also both these teams supporting different charities. Googlers2 supporting the World Wildlife Fund, which is a charity for conservation of nature and biodiversity on Earth. Whereas Google will change their name later is supporting, I believe, the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Hmm.
So good charities to be playing for here. Obviously, this early in the season, trying to get, positions towards playoffs and hopefully getting more money for your charity as time goes on. Both these teams, of course, 2-0, as this is week 3 of the Swiss. Still whittling down on those. So we'll see how these teams perform going into this best of 3. Matchups to look for as we are getting ready to go into the draft 1000.
Yeah, we are, and right now I'm kind of just looking at this top lane. I think that's really one of the closer matchups in terms of ranks. So that is gonna be where we might see, a little bit more win from We'll Change This Name Later. The jungle matchup is going to be a little rough. The bot lane matchup might also be a little rough. Mid lane, I'm not sure about, but we'll have to see as we are getting into the picks and bans. Everything out here looking pretty as expected. The Poppy is a huge pick for Magellan in that top lane. That is the biggest top laner I could find there. The Udyr, obviously still very strong as a jungler, so wanting to take that away if possible. And everything else is just the pocket picks being taken away.
Camille is still fairly highly regarded in terms of top line, so she's not necessarily a pocket pick. But Twisted Fate, Yone, Tristana, all of these definitely more towards that targeted ban's side. I mean, there's an argument to be made about Tristana bouncing back into the meta, but
Mhm.
uh, you know, when we're at this kind of point in the season, people aren't necessarily thinking about that. They're just thinking about comfort. With the Udyr first ban, it will be the Jin first pick for Will Change Our Name Later. Interesting that they first banned the Udyr on blue side instead of trying to bait that ban out. But instead, with this Jin first pick, Googlers2 to pick up probably jungler ADC here, maybe ADC support.
Yeah, I think generally with the Udyr, you can force the red side to ban it, unless like they know for sure that you're not gonna play it. That is always an opportunity to just allow a ban to go over. But Jin, very comfort pick, very strong pick still too with the Gale Force and such. Fried Banana going to be piloting that, and then the Kaisa and Thresh. Very strong engage combo here that they are looking to try and get a hold of this immobile Jin.
Yeah. What patch are we on again?
It
1000?
is it is 11.5.
I could have sworn this was 11.1 with these AD carry and bot
Yeah.
lane picks.
I mean,
Uh,
okay, they're still like they've still been strong. It's just like a lot of the picks kind of the AD carry meta has stayed fairly stagnant outside of the Senna coming up, and that has been
yeah,
nerfed this patch. So I'm assuming that is why a lot of these carries are going back to, you know, what was known, what was comfort there.
yeah.
As we are getting through this first half of the pick phase, the Urgot going to be taken up blind here. Tom Kench almost assuredly going in that support role to just keep that Jhin safe away from the Thresh. And the Kayn pickup here is interesting because he is such a weak early game jungler that needs to get into these lanes. But he absolutely can pop off in either form once that transformation does come through.
Indeed, and I personally still think Rost form is the better form right now. At the moment, you see an Urgot, you see a Thresh, so ganking bot or top should gain you points towards that anyways. Hecarim
Mhm.
Viego taken off the table as well as Vayne and Corki. Interestingly, CEA has not disabled Viego, unlike a lot of other amateur leagues.
It's been fixed.
Uh, it has been fixed.
It
Okay,
has been fixed. Also, the bug had to be done intentionally, basically. You
yeah,
had to have a dark seal, you had to be like doing something intentional to break that. So I feel like
okay.
as long as you are not trying to make the bug happen, he is a-okay. But yeah, Mordekaiser gonna be taken here against the Urgot, and that one definitely okay. So that is a bit of a skill matchup, but I think it favors the
Yeah.
Mordekaiser. He has a bit of an easier time getting his combo off, and Urgot not really gonna want to try and fight him early. Wants to try and get a little bit more in terms of items to fight the Mordekaiser, but it's still it's just an easier execution on the Mordekaiser part.
Well, speaking of easy executions, Victor actually getting counterpicked by the Seraphine here. Victor, I think, has a stronger lane phase, so he should actually have a relatively easy time there. I think the solo lanes from Will Change Our Name Later are definitely very strong. I agree with you about the skill matchup top lane, though. I think Urgot is very good at punishing melee matchups, so if when all things are being equal, I think both these people punish the other for the same thing. But it comes down to, Mordekaiser has the extra healing that Urgot does not. He should be able to out-sustain in lane, assuming they're kind of right up in each other's skin. Late game, though, I definitely favor the Urgot as he scales a lot better. Uh, that said, taking a look at the jungle matchup, we have Kayn versus Nunu. Early aggression from the Kayn will most likely just be getting stacks, leaving Nunu this ability to kind of roll on up to his larger power spikes.
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be like the both junglers are going to look to gank in the early game, but Kane's just looking to poke people. He's just looking to get damage down. Ultimately, kills would be nice, would be great. Not really expected when you look at these lanes here. There's not a lot of great setup here outside of maybe the Mordekaiser. Tom Kench not going to be able to really set things up terribly well. Victor Seraphine will not be sitting in that gravity field to be able to get caught there. So Kayn just going to try and get that transformation. We'll see which transformation they want to go for there once we see the runes come through. I could see an argument for either one. I think in this situation, I think they need a little bit more frontline to allow Victor and Jhin to really get that DPS down.
I agree with you. I think, you have single tank, single bruiser if Kayn decides to go for blue form instead of Rost form. So adding that second bruiser to your team really helps. At the same time, Googlers2, they don't really have a lot of squishies. You have two true tanks in the Urgot and the Nunu, unless it's AP Nunu, but we're not going to see that. And then we see kind of this half tank Thresh support.
I
Builds
mean,
tank items, so it doesn't really get super tanky because,
Urgot
Thresh.
Urgot is like I'd say like kind of bruisery, but I
I
mean
mean,
the big thing that
he's
I am looking at though with that is the possibility of just obliterating this Seraphine. That
yeah,
is the one like really big thing that you could see with the blue Kayn that would be very, very key because
yeah.
getting Seraphine off the board before a fight happens will open up your team fight so much.
Yeah, and speaking of team fights, we can talk about the team fight ultimates that we have here. Jhin obviously having the curtain call, but Victor actually, a lot of people don't necessarily call Chaos Storm a team fight ultimate, but it is. Does lots of damage in that AoE. if you're able to continue crowd control with it, with the Tom Kench, with the slows, plus Mordekaiser with a pullback, that can be a very nasty combo. Meanwhile, on Googler's side, you have Box, you have Absolute Zero, and you have Encore, but you kind of need the Encore to set up Absolute Zero or the Box to set up Absolute Zero. So taking out one of those setups for your follow-up Teamfight Ultimate is going to be really important. That said, pick ultimates also abound here in the form of the Mordekaiser Ultimate without Realm of Death, and obviously the Fear Beyond Death. Maybe we see a 1-4 come out from both these teams, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it possibly. I think if Mordekaiser or Urgot, if one of those start going off, that is an opportunity. Victor also can split push fairly well with the Q and Lichbane. So we'll see how that is going to play out there. The Tom Kench is interesting when you're looking at this because that can get the Mordekaiser into the backline or the Kayn if it's red form. So that can open up some opportunities in some cases. But I think the biggest thing that I'm looking at here is I'd like to see red form Kayn. I'd like to see them kind of play front to back because the DPS of this team on Will Change Our Name Later, that is very much a front to back team. When you have Jhin, you have Victor, you try and kite back as much as possible. Jhin probably going to have the Gale Force, so can get out of Absolute Zero decently. Victor, however, will need that front line to be able to stay alive, and that's where killing that Seraphine is very important. The Encore can reach so far back into the back line, and that is the definitive backline access there for Googlers2. If Victor and Jhin don't get hit by the Encore, there's no stacks for the Kai'Sa. The Thresh won't have an easy time getting in there and hitting the Flay. The big thing is that Seraphine ultimate.
Yeah, and we'll see how Midnight plays this. He is higher ranked than Fried Banana 8. However, Seraphine is a weak side mid laner. Victor used to be considered a weak side mid laner. Now he actually has a fairly strong laning phase, even after the nerfs that hit him. I believe it was 11.2 or 11.3. I think it was 11.2. But anyway, it's like he still lanes fairly well. Much like Anivia, his lane phase got revamped with some changes in the past couple of months and has skyrocketed in popularity for that reason. Come late game, though, I'm not exactly sure who I favor at that point. You pick the Seraphine. I think it works for We'll Change Our Name Later. But at the same time, when it looks to late game scaling damage, you have the Surgot, you have this Kai'Sa who will outscale the Mordekaiser and Jhin respectively, but this Victor is an inevitability factor for We'll Change Our Name Later.
I mean, yeah, the Jhin will struggle a little bit, but I don't think, especially when you have the Gale Force, his combo ability to take somebody out is going to still be there. I don't think Jhin is a bad scaling AD carry by any means. And his range will be very, very important because he doesn't want to get into this Urgot and Nunu's face. But the Kai'Sa is the vast majority of Googler's damage right now because the Seraphine not going to be doing as much. Might see the Liandry's build because they need a little bit more damage. But Kai'Sa is the crux of that damage there. And the rest of it is kind of set up and body blocking for her. Whereas you have a two-prong attack between the Jhin and the Victor and the Mordekaiser and Kayn and Tom Kench. They can, until the super duper late game, really tank up that Kai'Sa and do some work on that. Especially Tom Kench, once he's, got that gray health really stacked up, he can really provide a lot of space that Victor can then burn through Urgot fairly well.
And that said, we're going to take a quick break as we load into the game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the Corporate Esports Association Week 3 matchup between Google Will Change Our Name Later and Googlers2. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association Week 3 matchup between Google Will Change Our Name Later and Googlers2. My name is Fennec, joined on the desk today, as always, by the lovely Thousand Eyes. And on the blue side, it is Google Will Change Our Name Later. Mordekaiser being played by Magellan in the top lane with Kiro 705 in the jungle, Fried Banana 8 in the mid lane, Zatia in AD carry, and Inhaler in support.
And on the red side, we have Googlers2. We have Transpiercer in the top lane, Kyle F on jungle, Midnight in the mid lane, Shooks on AD carry, and Riot Games Stinks on support.
I've never heard of Riot Games in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine that they would. That name kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, with Riot Games, like, what would
Riot
they make?
Games. They would.
League of Legends.
League of Lugers.
Dota 2.
Lugers. So it's a luging. It's a luging game.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Street Luge or Ice Luge? Or
Ice.
Skeleton.
Ice. Oh, Skeleton. That's probably the next update, honestly.
Anyways, junglers both starting on the bottom side of the map here, with Kayn doing Kayn things, starting with the Raptors camp as you do. Leash coming in for Nunu on the blue buff. Should be Gromp, or Buff Gromp buff, most likely from the Nunu, although he can do the blue side full clear, as red side full clear will come in from Kiro 705. In the meantime, though, lane's looking as they do early. Nice hook, though, on the bottom lane.
Yeah, but with the barrier there, both supports running the barrier.
Yeah, Guardian's really nice.
Or Guardian. Yeah, Guardian on Thresh has been a thing that has popped up a bit more lately. Has lots of trading in the top lane, but it's working out better for Transpiercer because he has the extra push there early on, was able to zone out and get the farm. Magellan's still sitting on that 0. Meanwhile, bot lane, they are getting a nice push there, getting that level 2 early, which is great for the Tahm Kench, means you can hook any engage and get out of a bad situation.
Magellan should be able to even up the CS a little bit more, as there is this large wave about to crash into his tower. Just depends on if Magellan's actually able to not get harassed off it, but Transpiercer doesn't have the same level of sustain, actually took PTA instead of Conqueror, so even has less.
Yeah.
So this should even up, but with the extra level advantage, he's going to get some early trades on a Magellan.
Yeah, that is very scary there. PTA is the normal rune for the Urgot there because of the machine gun. You get the PTA proc super quickly there, and that does really start to add up. This Magellan will just back and TP in, but Kayn is up topside trying to get some souls.
And he will, but bot lane, the fresh hook lands. Here comes the Kayn, though. Transpiercer down to 100 health. Oh, misses, but the Q hits. First blood over to Magellan as Riot Game Stinks ends up picking up a kill bot side. In the meantime, Kyle F ganking mid, gets through, but he's stunned up. Flash back out from Fried Banana. Barely able to stay alive. Overall, 1-for-1, very close from the mid lane. Fried Banana will be forced to TP back in as the Tia gets flashed on, but he's able to trade back onto the Thresh. Oh no! Oh no! It's one of those games, 1000.
Yeah, this is really getting off the ground quick here. Everywhere, basically seeing some action early on. Transpiercer actually getting caught out there, not respecting the 3-minute gank there. They knew Kayn started bot side, so you know he's gonna finish his clear on the top side there, and just kind of kept sticking up there. Especially when you know that Kayn wants to try and get those stacks early on, regardless of which stacks they are. He wants to get stacks. Does end up paying the price for that. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, great hook from Riot Games Stinks, but did end up falling because of the flash under the tower.
Yeah, and then the second hook, when he came back up, was like, all right, we'll run it again. Able to confirm the kill onto the gen here. So, you know, overall 2-for-2 across the map. Slight gold advantage going over to Googlers2 was they were able to gain a little bit more of a CS lead off of that. Nunu coming down bot in the meantime, though. Inhaler and Zatia both have flash. Inhaler takes the flash first. Zatia dodges out the snowball as Hero just farming stacks mid. Shouldn't be taking more, but he takes quite a bit of tower damage in the meantime. Might be a repeat gang from Kyle F here, though.
Yeah. Flash did end up getting burned there from Kiro, actually. Did not want to run the risk of dying to that Seraphine. Interesting that the ganks have been... Well, I guess, to be fair, the Kayn is basically going to have to get these stacks super quickly. Every lane is ranged. Every single person in lanes is ranged. So unless he's going to try and duel this Nunu, which is not something you want to do as Kayn,
Urgot's melee and Thresh is melee.
No, Urgot counts as range, I believe.
No, his Gatling Gun's an ability, though. His basic auto is ranged. Or not melee. His basic auto is melee. Speaking of basic autos, Transpiercer gets fair from beyond death. Actually, got level 6 on a minion in the middle of that trade.
Okay, I know for a fact Thresh is ranged. Because that is why he couldn't use the support item for a while.
Oh, I thought he Okay, I thought
counts as range. I'm almost positive Urgot does. The support item does work on him now, but he is still ranged, and I'm pretty sure Urgot is as well.
Well, because I know they changed it so the support item counted. I thought he was melee. I know for a fact Urgot is 100% melee because his basic auto is not the Gatling gun.
It's still ranged though.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh. You know, there's a reason I just shout words fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm the smart one.
You're the smart one. I'm the fast one.
You're the screw.
You're the brain
really
of the brawn.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Hero having to run away here will spot the Seraphine roaming down, so Zedia and Inhaler should back off of this.
Yeah. And back to that top play, I think it was really nice heads-up play from Transpiercer. Like, okay, I have this experience advantage gained from this wave that I had shoved in previously. And thus able to use that to his advantage, grabbing the ultimate, getting that kill. Really nice play from the Urgot. He's up about
they didn't back
17
off.
CS at the moment, and Inhaler should fall here. Kiro's around, though. Inhaler pops the Grey Health in the meantime. They're on to Shooks. Shooks able to flash out of the way, though, as Zatia trying to make his way out. Flash forward. Absolute zero. Flay. Flash from Zatia. Double TP being channeled. Fried Banana is down here. Now on to Kyle left. Pops the Gravity Field. Able to get the stun. Here comes the two-man encore into the rest of the kills down bot side. Double kill for Midnight on the Seraphine. Looking for the triple ever so soon. Killer Instinct in, and Fried Banana falls. Triple kill for Midnight with only a trade of the Nunu to their name. The Mordekais are falling in the meantime. 4 for 1 across the map for Googlers2. Very, very strong early game from this squad.
Yeah, absolutely there. And Zedia and Inhaler there, I said they could back off, and they just did not back off. They stayed pushed up, even though they saw the Seraphine wanted to roam down there. The Nunu was still nearby. He was just over there, and they stuck around, and they paid the price for that. The TP came through, and it looked like they were going to start to turn that around. Obviously, the Nunu did fall, so that is great for them, but it's still just... It is not a win there. They really tried to play aggro when they shouldn't have, and that is why they are falling behind there. The top lane, though, we kind of talked about how Mordekaiser should win that early. It is still a skill matchup, but once one of those people starts winning, they're going to win for a long time, if not the rest of the game.
Yeah, and Transpiercer now sitting on the Tiamat, so this is going to be the early Titanic Hydra, most likely, as he has a Rift Herald to his name as well. So really, really nice playing coming in from Transpiercer. Going to be going more towards that lifesteal bruiser style, but he should be able to get a tank item as his core, generally speaking. Or as his mythic, he still buys a Chem Tank, I believe, which is a tank item. However, I could be wrong on the build path. I have not played Urgot much.
Yeah, I am not positive. He may... I think I've seen Gore Drinker come around. I've seen like a little bit of the bruiser items come through. Right now, we got another lane gank though coming. Zedia and Inhaler just not respecting this Nunu.
Yeah, break game's very, very low, but he's still able to pop the box, and Inhaler is down. Shoots picks up that kill. Really smart play coming out. And actually, interesting. So you said maybe Landry's build from Midnight. Midnight instead opting to go for the Moonstone.
Yeah,
newer.
You can at this point. Like, you have your top and your bot lane just winning hard. you just lean into that at this point. Like, yeah, you have 3 kills, but it's mainly just because you're roaming around. It's not because you're winning the lane. You don't need to be the damage. You just soak up the gold and experience and buff up your allies as much as possible. I want to point out, just look at the vision control in the river here, all across the board here for Googlers2. They're all over the map, and now we got more fights in top lane.
0705, able to get some damage in on the Transpiercer in the meantime, but unfortunately, Urgot still, when he's building bruiser items, gets tanky pretty quick. As, you know, in my mind, he's a tank that builds bruiser items instead of a bruiser that's somewhat tanky, right? Because you know, the old Urgot Aatrox counter matchup where it's like, it's Urgot favored because reasons, and anyway. Inhaler, bot side, caught up by a hook. He's still only level 5, but it's TK, so his team play ultimate is not going to be too much, and a nice lantern to get them away. Flash into the flip. Magellan down at health, has to flash out of the way, but the fear from Beyond Death's already there, despite his jungler coming, and now Kiro 705's on the run. Pops the Umbral Trespass, but unfortunately just does not have the damage for Transpiercer. Now 3-1 and 0 on this Urgot, despite giving up first blood in that top side. Doing very, very well right now.
Yeah, it does pop the Rift Herald as well, and that is the power of the shotgun knees. The Transpiercer getting all around there, proccing all of those bursts alongside the cleave from Tiamat. That is so much AoE damage. You can 2v1 fairly effectively there, and this is just super duper well played there from Transpiercer.
A flash in from Inhaler, trying to get Shooks, but he's already out with the Lantern. Here comes the hook, though, into the play. Inhaler down to 100 health. Shooks with a Hail of Blades ends up picking up the kill. And Zatia's on the run, almost has flash available, but instead uses the Summoner Heal to try to get the speed up. Still, the fly and the hook land, and Ryut Games picks up the kill.
Yep, pretty standard.
Stealing the kill away from the Kai'Sa.
Pretty standard stuff there from Riot Games, getting the flay into the hook there, and that was just really, really aggro flash there. The biggest question is, like, what are you flashing for? And Inhaler flashed forward to seemingly get a slow onto Shooks there. When you have the Lantern, Thresh can very much get Kai'Sa out of a lot of those situations. So that was just a poorly advised flash inwards for... even in the best of situations, you're not going to get a lot done with that.
Yeah, Mythic's coming online in the meantime, though, as it is the Gale Force for the Jhin, predictably. Kraken Slayer, though, coming in from Shoots on the Kai'Sa. Definitely the more common item on Kai'Sa, however, you can go a couple different ones depending on the situation. Should be the Luden's Tempest for Fried Banana 8 relatively soon. Sunfire Aegis completed on Kyle F as Titanic Hydra is completed on Transpiercer. Not a mythic, but still first item regardless. Magellan going to be going into the adjusted Rift Maker in the top lane in the meantime, and it's Gore Drinker for the Kayn.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is like intentional or not, as Midnight's going to take some damage. Oh, flash.
Flashing out of the way, just barely.
Yeah, Midnight having to flash out of that Chaos Storm.
Taylor, though, in trouble. Can pop the gray health, but decides not to, as the Guardian was procced.
Yeah, and what I think is actually like really interesting here, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but mid lane has not seen a lot of action, and that favors the Seraphine so very much there because of the Victor not being able to get those early passive stacks. One of the things that is great, Victor actually really likes early skirmishes when he's in a position that he can win them well, because it just fast tracks him getting his abilities upgraded, because every kill or assist gives him 25 stacks. At 100, he gets to upgrade his ability. Because this Victor has not been involved in really any of these fights, it's just been trying to farm it up to try and get that, and that is so much slower.
Indeed, currently sitting on 93 stacks. Of course, Evolution. Nice flash coming in from Ryut Games. Now in trouble. Fried Banana goes down. Great game stinks, though. The Umbral Trespass might be in a bit of trouble, but Hero unable to pick up a kill as a chain of CC comes down. Double kill for Shooks.
Yeah, and they should have known that that was warded there because they got the control ward cleared away. So that just was not communicated to Fried Banana 8. The great flash from Riot Games Stinks, getting over, getting onto the Victor, taking him out of the fight, and then Kane had no reason to be there. Ends up falling as well. Easy second dragon.
And it will be the Ocean Soul this game. Nice to have around the time. And Kane actually just opting to take... There it is, red form. He had Shadow Assassin ready before that fight, but just waited a bit, got that as Transpiercer picks up a kill topside.
Yeah, and it's starting to get a little bit hairy here as there is no answer for this Urgot. This Kaisa 6-0 right now.
Well, Shadow Assassin, not Darken.
Wait, really?
Yep.
No, he's Darken.
No, because if you hover over his Q, it says the Shadow Assassin has won.
That's not what I'm seeing.
He is Darken form! Why? This is weird. Okay. Never mind.
If you look at him visually right now, he is very much.
I mean,
red form Kane.
I saw that he was transforming in a Darken form because of the red thing, but like I hover over his Q and it says the Shadow Assassin has won. As in, like, never mind. Weirdness, weird. Or not his Q over his passive, it says Shadow Assassin has won. That's just weirdness. Alright. That's all I got.
That is not what I see on my end, but...
Riot Games! Riot Games! Fix... You're looking like Ryut right now.
Yeah.
Alright?
Yeah, Thresh proving the name right now, but Transpiercer... We're getting that Rift Herald used, and this is going to get a lot here because there's not a lot they can do.
The power of the second Herald and an easy kill going on to the Victor. Inhaler might be the next one to fall, but he's able to flash
It's going to get another charge.
Oh, never mind! That was a great fear from Beyond Death to pick up that kill. And Zatia falls. In the meantime, to the Cathian Rain. 3-4-0. And now Cairo tries to find Shooks. Pops the uncontrolled chest pass. Able to dodge out of the way. Oh, the biggest snowball ever. Heals up with the Gore Drinker, but still taken down. As Shooks picks up the double kill.
Magellan just walking over saying, "Where is my team?" As now
no
we
idea,
are
but
the Nexus.
You're looking for the sub 20. I mean, it's just...
They're
if
gonna
you're
get
taking the inhib at this point in the game, you have to go for the end. Otherwise, you're giving free gold over, so... That's what they're trying to do. Transpiercer taking up the tower in the meantime. To the Nexus. Magellan here. Fried Banana, Etienne, and Inhaler as well. But Kiro still down for the next 6 seconds. Nexus down to half health. Kaya left now in the realm of death. Gonna pop the absolute zero onto Magellan. In the meantime, Zetio picks up Kaya left. But the Nexus has gone down. And despite getting a kill, it does not matter. Googlers2 with a quick 18-24 victory over We'll Change Our Name Later. And, you know, for the first 5 minutes of the game, I thought this was going to be close back and forth, but that dive bot really, really set Googlers2 in motion.
Yeah, not only the dive bot, but also the top lane just going just horribly, horribly wrong there. Urgot just getting onto the Mordekaiser and winning the trades consistently, able to get that level 6 advantage. That was where we really started to see it kind of like come out. And the fear from Beyond Death was just always hitting, always getting onto the Mordekaiser at low health, and it was not respected enough from Magellan. So that top lane going bad completely screwed any opportunity for them to push an advantage on the other side of the map. And yeah, bot lane was just like constant pushing from Zedia and Inhaler, but not enough warding and not enough respect for this Nunu. I can understand it happening once or twice, but that was just way too much to excuse there when you're just constantly pushing and getting ganked over and over again by this Nunu.
And it's really smart heads-up play from the Nunu as well, right? Going bot lane, it's like, all right, you know, Urgot got killed top lane to the gank, but in a 1v1, he's still winning. So if Kane is up top side, I can just get, like, my Urgot's still going to do fine. Even if he dies in the 2v1, he's still ahead of the Mordekaiser. So I'm just going to keep snowballing this bottom lane. My Seraphine's just utility. I don't care about snowballing her, so long as Victor isn't doing anything mid. And thus Googlers2. You know, they had this better adaptation to the state of the game early on, and it really showed. That said, we'll change our name later. I liked their first couple minutes of the game. Obviously, Mordekaiser kind of falling behind early, but they had the wherewithal to be like, okay, Kane needs to go top side. They got the first blood. They made some plays happen bot side. Unfortunately, even with the heads up TP play from Victor, the two-man killer or two-man encore was just too strong. And we are about to take a break going into game 2. Any final thoughts before we take our break, though?
Yeah, I think just one of the things that I would have liked to see, with like you had Zedia and Inhaler getting that push on the bot side, and you wanted Kane to get red form as soon as possible. The only way you were going to get that was by fighting Nunu. I think with that bot lane push, you invade as the Kane there and bring your support, bring somebody extra so that you can fight the Nunu and get those red orbs faster so you can transform. I think that might have been the call there. That would have been a better way to use the pressure that they had on that bot side.
I'm in agreement there. That said, though, we're going to take a quick break, only going to be about a minute or so, and then we'll be right back with Googlers2 versus Google Will Change Our Name Later. Don't go anywhere. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association Week 3 matchup between Googlers2 and Google Will Change Our Name Later. My name is Finnick, joined on the desk today, as always, by the ever-lovely Thousand Eyes, and we are into the second game of this best of 3. Googlers2 coming out very strong on that game number 1, as expected from this roster that got third place last season. Thousand, what are you looking for game number 2 with adaptations from both these teams?
I mean, I think from a pick and ban standpoint, the only thing I would change is maybe that top lane. I think overall the picks were fine. Maybe change the Kayn as well, get something that has a little bit more early game pressure, something that is actually scary, because it seems like Googlers2 were prepped for the Kayn and basically forced him into a situation where he could not actually get the transform off. As you can see, Googlers2 actually banning that Victor there does not want to deal with that once again. And I think most of the changes that need to happen are in-game changes, making better decisions around vision, understanding jungle pathing, calling out where people are so that the push and back off can happen respectively.
Indeed. That said, though, bans not changing from game number 1. Actually, correction, Lulu being banned away instead of Udyr, and Victor being banned away instead of Poppy. And first pick Viego.
Viego, yeah, got to be the first pick here, and that is a favorite for Kyle F. Definitely really loves that champion. We are past the point where that bug has been fixed, but that does mean Udyr and Seraphine, last patch's favorites, are still available, and I think they're still fairly strong.
Yeah, Udyr's clear speed is just
Yeah.
disgusting. Even with nerfs to the jungle as a general thing, trying to dissuade power farmers from really, breaking through the meta, Udyr still is able to do that. Power farms up, goes in with the Phoenix stance, slap,
Mhm.
slap, slap, you're dead. Cho'Gath being picked up by Googlers2. Speaking of last patch, Cho'Gath has spiked in popularity over the last 2 patches.
Mhm.
Really strong blind pick, weak side top laner, gives you the utility of that second smite when it comes to objective battles. And Draven coming in for Googlers
Okay.
too gives them some early game with a Cho'Gath who generally spikes late. So I'm interested to see what they draft mid here.
I mean, the Draven is always a cocky pick, I feel, in any kind of a competitive situation. This is a pick that just snowballs super hard and is very hard to play, and you get punished for it if it does not go well. But yeah, like you said with the Udyr, power farms. The big thing about Udyr is he power farms and is able to gank still. Like he clears
Yeah.
so fast that he can still gank, and his ganks are solid. The bear stance, flash bear stance is always really good. As opposed to something like a Master Yi, where he just wants to sit in the jungle and farm nonstop. Udyr does want to leave eventually. The Jhin going to be taken once again. I like this into a Draven specifically. It is longer range. You can root him in place. I'd love to. I mean, depending on where the Seraphine's going, I would like to see the Seraphine go mid right now because I think you need something a little bit beefier to create space against this Draven.
Indeed. But at the same time, still watch out for the flex pick. I think Seraphine Jin's actually a fairly decent lane.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is. It's
as
just
well.
I don't like it against Draven because Seraphine will die very quickly, and that is a very easy way for Draven to snowball super hard in that lane.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
oh, if oh, I want
Uh-oh.
this locked in. I want
I
this
don't
locked in into the
I feel like
Cho'Gath.
this is a troll hover. No?
No,
Okay. All right. So we're getting spicy
I
here.
quite like this. I quite
Yeah.
like this in the show.
Yeah, this is gonna be the Vayne top against the Cho'Gath. It is a bit risky. Vayne will be able to tumble out of the knockups from the rupture, but if that is not used correctly, if the tumble is used early, Cho'Gath can knock her up and get onto her. So this is as opposed to like some other top lane matchups where there is no engage option, Cho'Gath does have one. It's going to be a little rough. This also makes the comp a little bit weird now because Udyr is the only frontline you have, and he is not going to be able to actually stop people from diving past him. As we do see, Seraphine is going to be the support. It is going to be up against a Blitzcrank Draven. This is very much just aggro as all heck in the bot side here. And
Yeah.
the mid lane just looking to be a farm fest for the most part, I think.
Just the farmiest of farm fests. Orianna should actually have lane advantage just because of
Yes.
Rumble's low range. Being able to zone him out. And honestly, I like Orianna more late game anyway. I think Rumble as a mid laner, you'd pick in a very specific matchups, which is why he's like more functional as a top laner, but I don't hate it. You don't really have mega combos with the Rumble though, which is kind of what I'm worried about when you pick this. How do you guarantee equalizer? You don't really have a way to do that. You don't have something like a Jarvan on your team. You don't have something like a Leona on your team. So equalizer, I think, is going to be used more towards that zoning side from Googlers2.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the big thing is you have the Cho'Gath, and you have like a fairly good way to take objectives here. Cho'Gath can zone them out very well. Cho'Gath can secure the objectives very well. And using the Rumble, like the Rumble ult will be used with objectives because that is the kind of like semi crowd control that you're bringing. You're forcing them to group up for that. The question really is, can they get those picks beforehand? That is going to be the biggest thing. Blitzcrank grabbing any of these people other than the Udyr will be a death sentence.
Indeed. Speaking of death sentence, Thresh was banned away, but you know who wasn't? Vayne. With those silver bullets, Silver
Bullets?
bolts, excuse me. They're not. I know they're
Vayne
not
with a
bullets.
gun.
Silver bolt. I mean, Vayne with a gun would be even scarier, I think.
That's just
No,
the name of the skin. It's just Vayne with a gun.
Vayne with a gun. Silver bolts, I think is very strong against this team, not just against the Cho'Gath, but also against the Blitzcrank and even the Rumble to some measure, because he's going to want to get Zony's Hourglass anyway. Just being able to do true damage, so important up against them. They have the tank shred, they have the damage, they have team fight ultimates. They just don't have the front line. How does Googlers punish this without getting caught up in the myriad of CC that Will Change Our Name Later has?
It is mainly around this Blitzcrank. It is about getting early vision down. I think the bot lane should be trying to fight early on. They should try and zone Jhin and Seraphine off, because that will give them the push advantage, which then will allow them to get deep vision in the enemy jungle. They can then make picks off of that, which will then turn into objectives, so on and so forth. The other thing, too, is once Rumble hits around that level 8, level 9 point, he will have enough points in the Flame Spitter that he will outpush Orianna, because a lot of her push power is going to come from the command Dissonance, and there's not going to be enough points in that. She maxes the ball movement skill first, and between that and not having damage, Rumble will outpush Orianna once you get to the level 9 point. And that is where objective control is going to become very, very hard for We'll Change Our Name Later.
Yeah, and those objectives, as you mentioned, Cho'Gath very good at securing objectives. Viego not too bad as a smiter himself, and you know, that zone potential, you mentioned, you know, you have this Blitzcrank, you have this Cho'Gath, you have this Rumble, all of whom are very, very good at zoning. Even if their only teamfight ultimate technically is the equalizer, I still think around objectives, specifically their teamfight is scary. I think Google needs to pick teamfights either in lanes or in the jungle and then go for objectives rather than being forced onto these neutrals. That said, based on draft, who do you have winning this game? Are we going to game 3, or do you think Googlers2 have this?
I think it's going to go to Googlers2 on just a combination of skill level and the composition built. I think Shooks and Riot Games Stinks, they're going to have the push potential. They're going to have the zoning control to be able to get that vision we talked about. And that is going to be the biggest thing there. Yeah, those objectives are going to be hard to take if they do not get there first. It is going to be on them to get that control, make sure that one of those squishy members is wandering into that dragon or baron area, and you grab them, you blow them up, and then you take the 5v4.
And uneven fights being the name of the game. We'll see if they can execute that. That said, we're going to take a quick break as we get ready to go for this second game of the best of 3 between Googlers2 and Google. We'll change our name later. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, NBs of all ages, welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Week 3 matchup between Googlers2 and Google. We'll change our name later. Googlers2 on the blue side after a dominating game number 1 victory, sub 20 minutes. We'll see if they can do it again as they go in for an invade. They find Zatia, not in range of the hook though. And they know this is going on, so they'll just go for the counter invade vision if they're smart about it.
Yeah, it does not seem to be the case there. The early ward not getting put down. There we go. Does get put down right in that bush there. They do see that it was put there. They know Udyr has backed, has the Oracle lens, and now Zedia already just looking to just harass the ever-living crap out of this Cho'Gath.
Yeah, after last game where it's like, okay, it's a skill matchup, Mordekaiser into Urgot, we lose on the Mordekaiser. Just picking like a straight up winning matchup can be such a confidence boost. Assuming Zatia is able to actually make this happen, right? There is still a little bit of mechanical error that Zatia can do that lets Transpiercer gets ahead. As you mentioned, missing the tumble will be the end of Zatia's life, and she's just so squishy. But in the meantime, yeah, there's the tumble.
There you go.
Play it. Starting the tumble. Very
That's
smart.
only going to get very worse as the Silver Bolts come out. People do not respect the early game damage from Vayne. The press the attack Silver Bolts proc is very, very scary, especially against these low range champions where you get it off easy.
Yeah, Transparency are actually just CSing with a Rupture. Honestly, I don't blame them. I think it's exactly what you need to do in this situation because you can't get close to the lane. But Pride Banana has to pop the Summoner heal. Flash forward! First blood from Shooks.
Yeah,
on a Pride Banana 8.
That's what happens. That's Blitzcrank for you, and especially just with Draven, not just Draven, but Hail of Blades Draven. That is very much going into that early game, looking to just get burst damage down, level 1, 2, and 3, and absolutely dominate the lane here. So
they took them all as well.
Yeah, already off the ground here will be just absolutely hard to deal with.
Despite no kills going over yet topside, similar CS advantage has been created by this Vayne. As expected, just constantly zoning out Transpiercer, now having the Silver Bolts, also level 3, so really this is going to be such a hard matchup for the Cho'Gath to deal with.
Yeah, and the biggest thing too is what is Zedia going to do with this lead here? Getting a lot of poke down. Transpiercer 1 will be able to heal up with those minions under the tower. Kyle F, yeah, oh no.
And he pops the E, trying to get more damage on his Zatia. Finds the stun, Zatia taken down. So this is one of the issues Vayne has in lane, is that if she's pushed too far forward without a support, she dies.
Yeah, and that's so tragic because that was... Oh, we got gank mid.
Bear stance stun too strong. Midnight goes ahead and flashes out of the way, but they're still doing quite a bit of damage. Phoenix Cats. Magellan flashes out barely able to stay alive off the level up. The level up saving his life there.
Yeah, and I thought that was just going to be a death there, but does get that through. And yeah, I do want to touch on that Vayne because that was absolutely preventable there. TP comes through, but that was very preventable, not only through warding. There were no wards to keep Zedia safe, and once again, just like last game, the 3-minute gank. Goodbye.
Maybe not. Root lands from the Seraphine. The axes weren't picked up by Shooks, so now has less empowered auto attacks on the Fried Banana at the moment, and Kira's body blocking. Kira actually playing support this game, by the way, not jungle. They swapped around again. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Nice
but that is kind of what is really rough for Zedia too, because you can't just do that when you don't know where the jungler is. That is what got you killed against Viego there, because if the condemn was up, you could condemn Viego away, stop the stun from coming through, and just walk out. But between the wards and flash hook. Goodbye.
Yeah, flash hook knockup. Shooks unable to be traded back, excuse me. Kyle left though in the meantime. You know, playing Viego, I think a lot of people really like playing him. I like him. I like the Morphling passive. However, I mean, it's Morphling ultimate on a passive, but I digress. Dota references aside. I think part of the issue, is Viego has really telegraphed ganks, and yes, he was able to get that off top side. But with a little bit more heads-up play, Zatia should have gotten out of that. And bot side, he really was a non-factor in that gank as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he is another kind of farming jungler. He wants to get in skirmishes around objectives there. He is a little bit more like a Master Yi in a lot of aspects. Just kind of builds squishy and wants to just chase people down, fight in those 1v1s. As Transpiercer now taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it got bear stanced, flashes out of the way, and Zatia just nursing the wave, so
That's
picks
great.
up a great CS advantage, and getting that flash out is absolutely massive. That means Magella can go in for that repeat gank later on, or just a condemn might be the end of Transpiercer. As Hero might be in trouble here. Here comes the Blitzcrank. Hex Flash misses the wall. He's still able to find the knockup. Hero taken down. The hook landed on a fried banana in the meantime, but Jin should be able to make his way out. Nice route. Shook's actually in a myriad of minions.
Yeah,
Nice alliteration there, if I do say so.
Fried banana honestly could have died there, but ooh.
Inhaler, you don't flash further into that, but with full health.
Flash the stun.
Yeah. It was to flash the stun, but still, like, flashing further into the rupture, if there was follow-up CC, she would have died there. But still, it's good reactions to get out of the way of the stun, and Inhaler really showing up unscathed there after popping Exhaust and just Command Protect, so. Ult for a flash. In fact, pops a Shockwave, but Midnight should be able to make his way out.
Yeah, just trying to get the wave in a better spot, trying to back, I believe, right now. Wants to head back, spend some of that money, get that lost chapter. Shooks gets a plate solo, will get rooted up here. This actually could be bad.
It's very bad, getting solo killed by a Seraphine. Fried Banana, unfortunately, didn't even get assist gold for that one, so... No, he did.
Walked on the trap.
I don't know how. Oh, he got the trap, okay. Yeah, the Jin trap. So, got the assist gold. Not the amount of gold you want. You know, it's 50 gold, but it's something. And actually getting the early Moonstaff on your Seraphine might not be bad.
Not at all.
This particular game.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And I think Kuro recognizing that Shooks was playing a little bit disrespectfully there. They knew the Blitzcrank wasn't around, and good route onto the trap there, really forcing Shooks to just kind of take it and die with the Ignite.
Right, though, making the first roam of the game mid. Wasn't able to find Inhaler, but Inhaler very low on mana. Needs to take the back anyway. Meanwhile, though, Transpiercer finds a turret play topside through use of the Demolish. Zatia did not use the TP.
Oh, no,
Magella in the jungle! R.I.P. Man Bear Ping. Kyle F. says, okay, I'll be Bear Pig this time around.
Yeah, Magellan there could have used a map, could have used some vision on that map, and would have avoided that one, but does fall there as there was a lot of people waiting for him.
Too busy trying to circumnavigate the jungle.
True.
Forgetting how big the jungle actually is, or in this case, how small.
Yeah, not recognizing what actually was there as Shoots.
I mean...
That's just Blitzcrank, man. That's just...
You're not behind your minions. Blitz gonna give it to you. He's gonna give it to you. Now he dives the tower for you. Fried Banana flashing the knock up. Great flash from the Jin.
Yeah, that's exactly how you have to...
That's
That's how you have to play it too, because if you wait too long, you'll get hit by the knockup, which combos into the hook. If you flash too early, they'll just hold the hook until after you flash and take the kill.
Yeah. It was a great flash. The team, meanwhile, you know, having a CS lead topside, but still only just now getting the first plate, really hasn't been able to push it. And we see Magellan fighting Kyle F in the meantime. Midnight's around. Here comes the equalizer. Zatia barely dodging that out, but here comes the Viego flash forward plate spinner, and Kyle F on a killing spree. now having some silver bolts of his own. Magellan's got to be very careful here as they push the wave.
Yeah, Magellan actually very, very much
knocked up. Yeah, go back. Nice. Bit of a shockwave, though, from Inhaler to keep the gank from going further.
Yeah, they recognized that Magellan was there for the counter gank, saw him on the sweeper, and Rumble was up there to make it what Magellan thought was going to be a 2v2 that they could win, turned into a 3v2, and now TP coming from Zedia. This is going to be another death from Zedia.
We don't talk about what happened bot side, by the way. Nor do we talk about what's happening top.
Isn't that kind of your job?
Well, you see, both of those were a comedy of errors, and by comedy of errors, I mean tragedy of errors. I mean, Kiro, you know, did a buffered flash. I don't think he meant to do a buffered flash. I think he meant to get the ultimate off and was like, oh crap, I got a flash out of the way, and therefore missed the ultimate. Oh, and Fried Bananas,
yeah.
And top side, you know, we just said, you know, the repeat gank is coming from Kyle F. Vayne dies, Magellan. Forcing the flash on Riot game stinks. Inhaler, though, might be caught up in a pinch. Midnight in with the Flame Spitter. Has the Equalizer available, not using it quite yet.
Yeah, Shooks rushing this Essence Reaver makes a lot of sense there. Anybody who can really use the Sheen and mana will get that Essence Reaver early on. Very strong item in the current meta. Did first buy the Serrated Dirk, though, for the extra damage and lane control there. So really playing this Draven well. Seems to be fairly comfortable on it. Midnight gonna just walk away.
He's like, what time is it? It's noon. I'm gonna get out of here. But it might be midnight later. Who knows? League of Legends does not have a day-night cycle.
This is true. Well, how do we know that it's not just always light out? Like, it could be nighttime, but there's just always two suns, maybe.
Are you saying that Summoner's Rift is on Tatooine?
I think that would be grounds for a lawsuit, but I'm not saying it's wrong.
Well, actually, Tatooine has a sunset, though. Because the sun's set at the same time-ish.
Yeah, they're all on the same side.
Yeah.
It's still a day and night, but I mean, what if they're, you know, multiple suns and they're just kind of constantly cycling? It's an that could be happening.
It could be. I don't know how gravity would work there, though. Because if you think about it, right, they would have to be opposite sides of the planet at some point. Oh, okay, bye.
X-Flash is a fun rune, guys.
Yes, it is. X-Flash, you're dead. I don't know, because now I'm thinking, you know, how would the orbits work? Because if it's on one side on the other, like, you'd be affected by both their gravities, which would mean that, like, okay, so what if they were the two focus points of your orbit, right? Because
diving so deep into this.
Well, okay. So we know that orbits are elliptical, right? The sun is one of the foci of that. Is the focus of that orbit. Foci meaning the two essentially centers for an ellipse. Transpiercer is fine, by the way. Rumble pops the Equalizer. Transpiercer flashes out of the way. Magellan in trouble. Midnight in trouble. Got damage down, but here comes Kyle F. It's like, all right, I got these bolts now. Run from me, Kiro. Condemned, not stunned, though. So yeah, the orbit would... So it'd have to be, like, in between the two planets. Like in between the two planets in terms of orbit, but they're still on the outside. So there would have to be, like, some, like, diffusion that would prevent things from sunsetting.
This was just some stupid mind rambling thing. Like, you...
I look,
so deep into that.
There was a time when I wanted to be an astrophysicist growing up. That's all I'm saying on the matter. Oh, the Flash gets the support hooked away! And despite the double encore, Draven gets the whirling axes down, and it is a dead Seraphine. Fun facts about the teams. These aren't funny fun facts. These are, like last week, they are just fun facts I got from both the teams. Fried Banana, captain of Google will change their name later, did mention to me that the team is mainly made up of members of Cloud, Ads, and Finance. Seems like Google, as Riot Games stinks, is the fast. Pop Shirelia's and just gets the knockup. It's fine. Shirelia's Blitzcrank. Is this the full AP Blitzcrank build, actually? Hold up. I think it's the full AP Blitzcrank. So, you know, different divisions of Google, you know, Cloud, Ads, Finance. Shoots in the meantime tells me, and they got some people on Cloud, but everyone, they got members on YouTube, Search Ads, UX, and IT. So, kind of all parts of Google represented here, which is really, really nice. Zatia in trouble in 1v2. Transparencer picks that one up. Not with a piece, though. I like Google services. Sometimes. All the time, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, golly. This sucks.
You know what? At least it's not a sub 20 like it was last game. Because I mean,
it still could be.
I mean, never mind, they do have second Herald on Transparencer. It could be a sub 20. But it's just pick after pick after pick. And this is what you were talking about in the draft, right? This is what they need to do. Just get picks with the Blitzcrank, you win the game. That's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, not just that, but also the lane pressure there. And, like, I'm looking at what could have been done differently here. Like, I think, honestly, a lot of it was...
Oh,
my God.
You needed to focus Tia this game.
Yeah.
And Sombrero lands. Kyle left stunned up by the bear stands flashing out of the way. He's able to heal up a bit. Rooted up by the Seraphine, though. Shutdown lands, but Magellan is traded. 2 for 1, but it's still 1,000 gold over. Make that a 3 for 1. So 1,000 versus 900 gold. Still technically favoring Google will change our name later. But quickly evened out by these minions.
No, don't tumble forward. Almost went vein spotting there for a second. Yeah, I mean, so when you're looking at the top side there, the best thing there was Magellan counter ganks the crap out of that lane, is there to make sure Kyle F cannot do anything to help the Cho'Gath. Zedia did not do any favors of getting wards down to make sure that the ganks weren't coming. Also, using the condemn very aggressively is half of why the safety was gone. You can do that in a 2v2 lane if you have a support that can peel for you. You cannot do that in a solo lane when you don't know where the jungler is, and it's possible for them to just jump you. As far as the bot side goes, that is just kind of, I feel you needed to flex that Seraphine into the mid lane. Playing Seraphine into a Draven Blitzcrank matchup just is the worst thing as a support.
Indeed it is.
Oh my. Because we're seeing Leandry's being built on this Seraphine. Oof. Yeah, now Magellan gonna be...
Oh, well, there's the equalizer. On to 3. Seraphine on to 2, into the shockwave, but...
Zedia!
Peter's already dead! Hey, Zedia's able to pick up a kill! Let's go! Let's go!
Immediately after, but still got a kill. On the board.
Worth more than a cannon minion.
Very true.
Indeed.
More kills going to this Night Harvester Rumble. Really, really bursty Rumble build coming through. Fried Banana trying to chase them off of this tower, but yeah, this is you're kind of just waiting for the end to occur here, as Dragon will be up in about 3.5 minutes. Ocean Soul gonna be getting into the pockets there for Googlers2, unless something major changes in the next couple minutes. And yeah, this is not the AP Blitz. This is, so Shirelia's is actually fairly common on just the support Blitzcrank. Not only is the active great for Blitz just to kind of like grab people, get into their face, force the flash before they actually use the hook. The passive on it gives you more move speed for every legendary item, which Blitz loves.
This is true. And he has a Dead Man's Plate, too. So, all right. First Baron of the series, by the way, because the other one didn't even go to 20 minutes. But 20-minute Baron, you've got enough Baron damage between the Draven, the Rumble, and the Viego to take it relatively quickly. But, yeah, I think it's just good play from Googlers2.
Absolutely.
From the series. I don't want to be like, oh, well, it's, you know, skill gap or whatever, because I think Zatia and the Vacuum still won that lane. But it has a place from KyleF to be like, okay, you know, like last game was heads up plays, my top lane's doing fine, I can just go bot and snowball that. Opposite thing this game, right? Shooks and Ryu Ames just dominating the bot lane, going top, picking up these kills onto the Vayne. So the Jin's dead, Equalizer's down. Inhaler should die. A nice flash into the ultimate from the Seraphine onto 3, but unfortunately no follow-up damage exists at the moment. With these Baron minions, they're pushing for the end. Googlers2 should end up finding this.
Yeah. Cho'Gath able to tank this for a long time. Magellan just gonna fall.
Yeah, Flame Spitter down. Zatia in the 1v5. That one might be a little bit of a Vayne spot. Triple kill for Draven.
They're looking for the Quadra.
Quadra.
No Penta. Wait. Inhaler's gonna spawn. Could go for the Penta.
They're going for it. They gotta go for it. Oh, the flash forward. Inhaler getting a double, triple, ace coming out. Oh, no.
They invested a little too heavily there. Now Inhaler will be able to back off. Got a triple off that. All 3 kills just off that.
And a shutdown, actually. Fried Banana gonna shut down on a Draven. Because apparently Inhaler didn't do any damage to him. I love the Pentagreed. I love to see it.
A little bit of BM there.
A little bit of BM, but you know, it's Pentagreed. Like, I'll let it
It's Pentagreed, you allow it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Inhaler didn't even have to shockwave that fight. Maybe this is... No, it's probably not the way they get back. But...
No, Inhaler sombreroed it.
Oh, I didn't see the sombrero come out. You know what? Orion Ultimate's on such a low cooldown late, you know, 73 seconds. Just forget about it. It doesn't even has a cooldown.
Yeah, Orianna very much a great late game champion because of those cooldowns and how influential the shockwave can be despite the low cooldown of it. But now the Ocean Soul is going to be taken here. Cho'Gath able to feast on that. And now they're going to be even harder kills. Shooks.
Yeah, goodbye, Kiro. And goodbye, Fried Banana. 1v2. Won by Shooks.
That was 1v5.
The golden puck of the person who killed him. But...
Ooh.
What was that, sombrero? I think Inhaler was trying to do ball delivery, but the command protect was out of the way, and so sombrero did. That's unfortunate.
Very much so, and now that should be the end of the game. Magellan, the only one left alive, and will not get hooked out.
It's not a sub 20 at least.
This is an improvement.
This is an improvement. I think, to be fair, I think Google will change our name later. Had good spots in both these games. It's just KyleF was just such a big difference maker, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like, and I think also just the control of vision was a huge difference between these teams. That is why I really liked this composition for Googlers2, because I saw in game 1 how much they used their advantages that they got to get vision control and made good decisions based off of that vision control. Whereas we'll change the name later. They didn't really utilize vision. They did not ward their flanks, and they pushed up with no information whatsoever just to play aggressive, and it bit them so many times.
Indeed. And, you know, I think the unfettered aggression is still something that can be harvested. It's just you can't make mistakes with the unfettered aggression, right? It's like this, you know, the old Korea versus China at Worlds thing, where Korea played slow, methodically to punish mistakes. China forever kept being known as this high-tempo region, and they weren't winning against Korea because they kept making mistakes. But for a span of 2 years, obviously this past year didn't work out that way. But for a span of 2 years, Chinese teams were able to get the better end of Korean teams because if you play that aggressive and you don't make mistakes, you will just win games. And I think if they focus on making fewer mistakes and focus on, understanding how the enemy jungler is playing, or focus less on their win condition and more on the other teams, with a little bit better drafts, I think this will change our name later. Despite being a team that was made just this year, can perform above their ranks in this CEA tournament. That said, though, Googlers2, absolutely phenomenal, really well played, especially coming in from that Viego play game number 2 and from that Nunu play game number 1. Kyle left just absolutely dominant. What are your thoughts before we get both the Google captains in for interviews?
I think, the biggest thing, like you said, is just get the fundamentals down of team play and vision control. They're decent players. They just need to not play it like solo queue. They need to, understand, okay, I am the jungler. I know where the enemy jungler started. Where is the enemy jungler going to go? That is your job as a jungler. As support, you need to be warding your flanks for your AD carry. Make sure that you ping them off the wave if you're going to get aggressed on, or you're, worried about where the jungler might be. A lot of those kinds of things take some time to cultivate, and, you kind of got to step back and, study the game, not just play the game.
Yeah. And it's, can you put the work in? Can you actually do that as a team? Will determine how well they do in this tournament. That said, Googlers2, last season they got 3rd place overall. Definitely looking very strong this time around. Technically, they are the 2nd team of Google. However, I was told in DMs by Shooks, they're going for the win at all this season. I think they're in a very good spot to do that. No glaring mistakes happened. I think they understood how to play as a team very well. That said, we're going to go to a quick break. When we get back, we'll have the Google captains in for an interview. You don't want to miss that. See you after the break. Well, welcome one, welcome all, welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Week 3 matchup between Googlers2 and Google. We'll change our name later. My name is Fennec, joined on the desk today by Thousand Eyes, and we have the captains of both those teams. Shooks from Googlers2, Fried Banana from We'll Change Our Name Later. How are you two doing this fine afternoon?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing well. Very excited.
All right, so starting with those games, game number 1, we saw a bit of early skirmishing coming out from both these teams. Looked fairly even, and then this kind of breakout happened from Googlers2. So I guess my first question is, in those early skirmishes, we saw the deaths happen top side, the deaths happen bot side. What was going through both of your minds, or what was going through your team's minds, comms wise, at that start?
You go first.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, so Zedia was our jungler last season, so all we wanted really to do was pump up his death count as much as possible. So that's why Nunu kept spam rolling through lane bot.
So for us, what actually happened is we had some miscommunication in the draft. So I went mid lane Victor, but I was supposed to go Jhin the bot lane. And due to some miscommunication, we actually locked in Victor when we weren't supposed to. So we had to change last minute. So our ADC didn't really play ADC, nor did he play Jhin for that matter. So we had not a lot of experience in the ADC role, and that kind of got out of control. So it was just miscommunication on our part. We should have been a little bit better than that.
Yeah, so I want to ask actually specifically about game 2. The Draven pick, was that like a comfort pick for you guys, or was that just kind of like we want to really just stomp really hard and try and just snowball this out of control? Like how comfortable was that of a pick for you guys?
It's actually one of my fun picks, but I don't pull it out that often. But I play a lot of it back in like season 5. I got actually hard flame for dropping a few axes in lane, but I might work out in the end.
You can watch on Monday. I did point out one of your dropped axes when you were going for a kill, and you dropped an axe and you weren't able to get the kill.
Yeah, so it was not just on your team; it was also on broadcast. So don't
worry.
Yeah,
I remember that. Thank God you dropped that axe. I could have had one more.
Moving forward in game number 2, right? So we saw this Vayne pick come up from Zedia into the Cho'Gath, getting these CS leads, and all of a sudden we see Viego gank, and then gank again. Shooks, you were saying you just wanted to repeat gank Zedia, so I will ask Fried Banana, what were you guys thinking as that was going on? Were you like, all right, we'll try to push our advantage somewhere else, or was Zedia asking for counter ganks, or what was going on?
So what was going on? Like mid lane was pretty even, so that was fine. But the problem is we were getting hard stomped in the bot lane. Blitzcrank was just going in and grabbing everything he could see. So we had to ask for ganks or some help in the bot lane. Then, after that one first and second ganks in the top lane, everything just spiraled out of control, and we really didn't have any vision. We couldn't really see what was going on. We were getting hard pushed under tower, so they just really had the initiative everywhere, and they just keep doing whatever they wanted to do.
I mad respect though. I think for getting some of these advantages early before they snowballed out of control though. Like just once again, like that top lane matchup in game number 2, like up until the point where the repeat ganks happened, you guys actually were even across the map due to that Vayne getting ahead. So
yeah,
congratulations for that one. 1,000.
Yeah, so did you guys have any kind of bets or conversations between these teams, since both you are working for Google? Like, was there any kind of like inter-team kind of like skirmishing going on before the game, or was it just kind of all clean?
So for my part, I have never met anyone from the other team, but what did happen is 2 of our players, so Magellan and Matt, I think his name is CEA, they actually sub or float for the other team. So I think you guys actually know each other. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Like,
there was some
yeah.
trash talk in our Discord server. Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Always good to hear that. Moving on though, towards the broader picture of CEA, right? Going into week number 4, right? Googlers2, you guys are 3-0. As Fried Banana, you guys are 2-1. Looking kind of past that, right? Towards playoffs and stuff. I know Shooks, you said you guys have the goal to win this season. So I am looking forward to that. What are your guys' goals for the season from the side of We'll Change Our Name Later?
So to give you some background, like this team we set up, we have never really met each other. We literally got the game together from a spreadsheet of a bunch of Googlers who were interested in joining CEA, and all I did was send them messages like, "Hey, I want to build a team. Are you interested?" So like we're starting out really just getting to know each other, build a team, build some chemistry. So our goal is really, to get to the point where we think we have a solid foundation if we want to keep it going in other tournaments or like through next year.
That's good to hear. 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as Googlers2, are you guys obviously are looking to win? Are there specific teams that you're looking at and kind of preparing for or worried about going forward?
Yeah, I know Amazon has this like super team with a bunch of D1 players, so I'm really excited to face them. And I think basically from Microsoft, Facebook, Google, there's like one really good team in each of those. So I think it's definitely going to be very tight this year. So I'm really excited to see how this could play out.
I'm excited to watch as well. And outside of the tournament, now is your time to shout out your individual charities. Obviously, you guys supporting 2 different ones. So since all of these questions have been directed towards Fried Banana, Shooks, why don't you start? Go ahead and tell us about the World Wildlife Fund.
Yeah, so I got inspired watching nature docs on Netflix during coronavirus. There's a lot of talk about, conservation of various species we're killing across the world. So I thought it'd be nice to support the World Wildlife Fund.
And for you, Fried Banana, can you
Yeah.
tell us
So
a little bit about Breast Cancer Research Foundation?
Yeah, sure. So it's a nonprofit, and it donates, I think, more than 90% of its funds towards research for breast cancer. And I think cancer is something that I think most people have had some kind of encounter with, and I think it's always just a good place for a good cause for anyone. Doesn't necessarily have to be breast cancer, any type of cancer. I've been in contact with it personally through friends and family, so I think it's always a good place to go to for donations.
Alrighty, 1,000.
I mean, I think that about covers what I had for as far as questions went.
All right, in that case, one final question. Any shout outs either of you guys want to make before we end today's broadcast?
Not really, but thanks so much for casting and doing all the interviews and everything. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, quick shout out. If we had gone Corky mid, would have been game over twice in a row. But yeah, thanks everyone. For everything. It's been great. GG Shooks and your team was. It's GG even though it was not, but it was fun.
That was a good game. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right. With that will end today's corporate broadcast, but stick around. We will have a collegiate broadcast later between 2 different teams from New York University, so you don't want to miss that. But until then, from everyone here at CEA Admin's production crew, our producer Brennan, and everyone in between, my name is Fennec.
My name is Thousand Eyes.
And we will see you next time.